A pianist takes the stage, and within seconds the room knows something impossible is happening. Fingers striking 38 notes per second, 97,000 keystrokes in a single program. This is Yuja Wang. And the question isn't whether she redefined classical piano. It's how a 6-year-old girl in Beijing became the most electrifying force the instrument has ever known. In a crowded neighborhood of the Haidian district, the sound of children echoed from a local community center. Tucked in a corner, a battered upright piano stood waiting. 6-year-old Yuja Wang pressed her first keys there, feet barely touching the floor. Her hands, small and uncertain, found the notes by ear before she ever learned to read them. The room was cold in winter, the piano often out of tune, but Yuja kept coming back. Her first teacher, Mrs. Liu Yao, watched quietly as Yuja's fingers stumbled, then raced, then settled into a rhythm that felt like second nature. Liu's lessons were different from the strict drills of other teachers. She believed in training the inner ear before the fingers. Yuja would listen to a melody, close her eyes, and hum every note before touching the keys. Sight reading came early, but so did improvisation. Sometimes Yuja would finish a Mozart phrase with her own twist, earning a raised eyebrow and a quiet smile from Liu. Practice was never glamorous. The center's piano had chipped keys and a sticky pedal. Still, Yuja played for hours, sometimes after the building had emptied out. By age 7, she was performing short pieces, folk songs, and the first movements of Mozart sonatas for small crowds at school assemblies. The applause was polite, but the spark was real. Each mini-performance built her confidence, and each lesson with Liu Yao sharpened her ear and touch. In these humble beginnings, far from the concert halls of the world, the first notes of a legend took shape. But the walls of that community center could only hold so much ambition. Something was already stirring in Yuja Wang, a hunger for challenge that would soon push her beyond these familiar streets. At age 12, Yuja Wang stood before the entrance of the Central Conservatory of Music in Beijing, a place where only the most gifted young musicians survived the audition process. Hundreds applied each year. Only a handful made it through. Yuja was one of them. Her acceptance came with a full scholarship, an honor reserved for the rarest young talents. The panel heard Beethoven, Chopin, and a flash of Prokofiev, each phrase delivered with clarity and fire. Among the judges sat Professor Guan Zheng, a Chopin expert known for his exacting standards. He would become her principal mentor, guiding her through a curriculum that demanded both technical brilliance and relentless discipline. Life at the conservatory was a world away from the neighborhood center. Days began before sunrise. Every hour was scheduled: scales, etudes, theory, history. Weekly repertoire workshops pushed her to masterworks by Liszt and Rachmaninoff, pieces that tested the limits of speed and stamina. Failure meant public correction. Success meant a place in the spring recital series, where Yuja's performance of Prokofiev's suggestion Diabolique drew whispers among visiting faculty. Her hands flew across the keys, fierce and precise, earning her the conservatory's Outstanding Student Award 3 years in a row. She didn't just survive the pressure, she thrived on it. In 1996, she had already claimed first prize at the Beijing Youth Arts Festival, but now her ambitions grew larger. By 17, she would win the National Youth Piano Competition in Shanghai, a victory that sent her briefly to Juilliard for a summer. Each achievement built momentum, each challenge raised the bar. But the discipline forged in these years did more than win trophies. It set her on a path towards something even bigger, a stage that stretched far beyond Beijing. Her audition program, Ravel's Gaspard de la Nuit, Liszt's Hungarian Rhapsody No. 2, and the stormy opening of Rachmaninoff's Third Piano Concerto, was a gauntlet designed for the brave. Gary Grafman, the legendary pianist who had mentored Lang Lang and Yundi Li, watched as Yuja's hands danced from impressionist shimmer to romantic thunder, never losing control. By the end, the panel offered her a full scholarship on the spot. Curtis was a crucible. Here, every student was a prodigy, every rehearsal a proving ground. Yuja's days stretched from dawn into the early hours, packed with solo practice, chamber music with future stars like violinist Gillian Peach, and masterclasses with visiting legends. Grafman pushed her to find not just speed, but meaning in every phrase. Under his guidance, Yuja refined her touch, balancing the raw energy of her youth with a new sense of restraint. Her first major US recital came in November 2006, when she performed Rachmaninoff's Piano Concerto No. 2 with the Curtis Symphony Orchestra. The local press called her command of the instrument astonishing for her age. The audience rose to its feet, sensing that something rare had just happened. Each performance and rehearsal at Curtis sharpened her artistry, forging not just a virtuoso, but a true musician, one ready for the world stage. But Yuja Wang was not about to stop there. A single concert in Rotterdam changed everything. In 2009, Yuja Wang stepped onto the stage with the Rotterdam Philharmonic, ready to perform Rachmaninoff's Piano Concerto No. 2. The hall was packed, but the real audience stretched far beyond those walls. Dutch national television broadcast the performance live, sending her sound and image across Europe in real time. Within days, a clip of her playing Liszt's wildest transcriptions landed on YouTube. The video raced past 1 million views, an unheard-of number for classical music at the time. European critics called her technique electric, and the press in Amsterdam described her stage presence as theatrical, unstoppable. Suddenly, Yuja Wang was no longer just a rising star in conservatories and competition halls. She became a name, a face, and a sound recognized by millions. Orchestras from Berlin to New York began calling. The viral clip did not just introduce her to a wider public. It set off a demand that turned her Curtis training into a launching pad for a full-scale international career. The classical world was paying attention. But with the spotlight came new expectations, and every move from this point forward would be watched and judged by a global audience. At Carnegie Hall in 2023, Yuja Wang delivered a performance that sent ripples through the data logs. The first movement of Rachmaninoff's Piano Concerto No. 3 is traditionally played at 130 beats per minute. Wang clocked in at 146 beats per minute, a full 12% faster than the standard. Every note landed in perfect sync with her own heartbeat, captured and verified by Carnegie's monitoring equipment. Technicians later confirmed the tempo using high-resolution playback, matching each downbeat to the pulse displayed on Wang's wrist monitor. No other performer on record had sustained that tempo with such clarity. For the first time, speed wasn't just a rumor or a critic's exaggeration, it was a fact, logged and time-stamped. And the numbers told a story that no one could ignore. The numbers behind Yuja Wang's performances are almost impossible to believe. In her 2023 Rachmaninoff Marathon at Carnegie Hall, analysts tallied a staggering 97,000 notes, played over the course of just 2.5 hours. That is not a typo, 97,000. At her peak, the data shows bursts of 38 notes per second, a rate that would exhaust most pianists in minutes. But Wang sustained this level of intensity across entire movements, never dropping clarity or control. Each keystroke was registered and verified by high-speed playback and digital keystroke audits, confirming not just speed, but a physical stamina rarely witnessed on the concert stage. It was not just a display of raw velocity, it was a test of human endurance, with every page of the score transformed into a marathon of precision and power. The question was no longer whether she could play fast. The question was how she could play so much, so cleanly, for so long. Clarity wasn't sacrificed for speed. When analysts broke down Wang's 2023 Carnegie Hall performance using spectrograms, each note's attack registered a sharp, isolated peak at 8 kHz, proof of articulation so clean, even at breakneck velocity, that the sound never blurred. High-speed cameras running at 120 frames per second captured her hands in motion, not a single wobble, no wasted movement, every finger landing with surgical intent. The visual data matched the audio, no smudge, no slur, just pure crystalline tone. Even among the world's fastest pianists, this level of control is rare. As conductor Teddy Abrams put it, Yuja can sustain a fortissimo cascade for 12 bars without a single wobble. The numbers, the footage, and the ear all agree. Wang's speed is nothing without her unmatched clarity. Precision, not just velocity, is what sets her apart. In a world where classical music competes with endless noise, Yuja Wang's boldness turns tradition into headline news. Each sold-out stage, each viral performance, proves the boundaries keep shifting. The future of piano is not written in old ink. It is being rewritten, one breathtaking note at a time. What will you remember?